9 side effects of creatine the industry never warns you about. Creatine is currently the most popular supplement in the fitness world and also the most scientifically studied. And that is precisely why there is a problem. The industry knows exactly what happens when you start taking it, but prefers not to say. After all, talking about reactions that frighten people does not sell. Think about it. If they said that the weight of those who take creatine tends to increase at the beginning, even though that is just part of the water retention process, would sales go up or down? Exactly. What sells is promising bigger muscles, more strength, and faster recovery. And yes, creatine delivers all of that. But between the first day and the results, there are side effects that catch many people off guard. That is why today you will see 9 scary reactions to creatine that the industry never warns you about. And no, hair loss is not one of them. That has already been debunked by science. Before we begin, please tell us in the comments your name and the city from which you are watching our content. We would love to know. Effect number 1. Weight increases fast at the beginning. This is probably the effect that causes the most people to abandon creatine before seeing any results. You start taking it, and within a few days, the scale already shows 1, 2, sometimes even 3 pounds more. Panic sets in, but it is not fat. What happens is intramuscular water retention. Creatine, when stored inside muscle cells, pulls water along with it. This increases muscle volume and body weight. It is almost like inflating a balloon. It did not get heavier because of extra material. It is simply more filled. The problem is that most people use the scale as their only measure of progress. The tip is simple. For the first 30 days, stop weighing yourself every day. Use the mirror as your ally. If your body fat percentage has not changed and your muscles look fuller, creatine is doing exactly what it should. The most common mistake is abandoning supplementation right in the adaptation phase, throwing away weeks of muscle saturation. Effect number 2, cramps may appear. Many people start taking creatine and, in the first few weeks, feel cramps they did not have before. The immediate reaction is to blame the supplement. But in most cases, creatine is not the villain, it is the messenger. Creatine increases the body's demand for water, pulling more water into muscle cells, and the need for electrolytes such as sodium, potassium, and magnesium also grows. If you were already not drinking enough water or not consuming these minerals in adequate amounts, the imbalance becomes evident. The solution is not to stop taking it, but to correct hydration and mineral intake. Drinking at least 2.5 to 3 liters of water per day, consuming foods rich in potassium such as bananas and sweet potatoes, and ensuring good magnesium intake will resolve the issue in the vast majority of cases. Including a little quality salt in meals also helps, since sodium is one of the most important electrolytes for muscle contraction, and many people on restrictive diets end up cutting salt too much. Effect number 3, blood tests can look frightening. You are taking creatine, you get a routine blood test, and creatinine comes back elevated. The doctor looks at that number and may suggest a kidney problem. Here is the explanation that never appears on the label. Creatinine is a natural byproduct of creatine breakdown. If you consume more creatine, you logically produce more creatinine. This does not mean your kidneys are failing. It means the marker reflects increased consumption. It is like measuring the amount of ash in a fireplace and concluding the house is on fire, when in reality, you just added more wood. The solution is to tell your doctor you are supplementing with creatine before getting tests done. There are other markers, such as cystatin C, that assess kidney function more accurately in those who supplement. The most serious mistake is stopping creatine out of fear without first having that conversation with your doctor. Effect number 4, your face may look more swollen. In the first weeks of use, some people notice their face looks slightly fuller, more round, as if they gained weight out of nowhere. The water retention caused by creatine does not happen exclusively in the muscles. A small portion of that water can distribute into subcutaneous tissues, including the facial region, especially in the cheeks and around the eyes. It is not fat, it is not inflammation, and it tends to stabilize as the body adapts, generally between 2 and 4 weeks. Those who do not expect this look in the mirror, barely recognize their own face, and conclude they are gaining weight. From there, it is a short step to abandoning creatine thinking it is doing harm. What makes this effect more uncomfortable is that it affects an area of the body that everyone sees all the time, unlike muscle swelling that stays hidden under clothing and even looks good aesthetically. Keeping hydration on track and controlling sodium intake which also contributes significantly to retention in the facial area, help minimize the swelling. Sleeping well and avoiding very salty meals at night also make a difference, since facial retention tends to be worse in the morning after nights of poor sleep or heavy eating. Effect number 5. Digestive discomfort, bloating, gas, or even mild nausea. Some users report gastrointestinal discomfort and attribute the problem to creatine, but the culprit is almost always the way it is being consumed, not the substance itself. The classic mistake is the loading phase, taking 20 grams per day in the first week to saturate the muscles more quickly. Dumping that amount of powder into the stomach all at once is like trying to shove an entire suitcase through the door instead of taking it piece by piece. The digestive system cannot absorb it all, and what is left irritates the gastric lining, causes fermentation in the intestine, and pulls water into the digestive tract, creating that bloated feeling. The current recommendation, endorsed by the majority of studies, is to consume 3 to 5 grams per day on a continuous basis. This saturates the muscles in 2 to 3 weeks without harming the digestive system. Another tip is to take it with a meal, preferably with carbohydrates, which aid absorption. Taking creatine on a completely empty stomach is another common trigger for nausea, so if you have gastric sensitivity, always combine it with food. If even with 3 to 5 grams per day you still feel discomfort, try splitting it into 2 smaller doses, one in the morning and one at night. Before we continue, do not forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell. Having constant access to science-based information is what will allow you to progress with health over the long term in the world of exercise. Effect number 6. You get stronger before your joints are ready. This is perhaps the most dangerous effect on this list, precisely because it seems like a good thing. Creatine improves the production of adenosine triphosphate, the energy currency of your muscle cells. With more adenosine triphosphate available, your muscles generate more force quickly, sometimes within 2 to 3 weeks. The problem is that muscles adapt to strength stimuli much faster than tendons, ligaments, and cartilage. These connective tissues have lower blood supply and a slower regeneration cycle. You feel stronger, you increase the loads, but your tendons are still at the same level as before. Result: joint pain, inflammation, and in serious cases, injuries that keep you away from training for weeks. The rule is to respect load progression gradually. Even if you feel you can lift more, limit the increase to no more than 10% per week. Invest in joint warm-ups and include tendon strengthening exercises with light loads and longer time under tension. Effect number 7. Muscles may feel hard or tense. With more water stored inside muscle cells, some people report a feeling of stiffness. The muscles feel heavier, harder to the touch, with a constant tension that is not exactly pain. This is more common in the first 2 to 3 weeks. Think of the difference between a dry sponge and a soaked one. The soaked one is firmer, denser. That is roughly what the muscle feels like during this phase. It is not a sign of injury and does not represent risk. The solutions are simple. Maintain a stretching routine before and after workouts. Make sure to warm up with joint mobility exercises and ensure adequate hydration. If you train frequently, short active stretching sessions on rest days also help. The mistake is to interpret this tension as something serious and stop training or supplementing. Effect number 8. You do not feel the benefits at the beginning. Just imagine the impact this has on the motivation of someone who just bought their first tub. The person starts taking it, expecting an explosion of energy and visibly bigger muscles. A week passes and nothing. The truth is that creatine is not caffeine. It does not flip an immediate switch in the nervous system. Creatine needs to accumulate in the muscle cells until it reaches saturation, and that takes 1 to 3 weeks. Only then do the benefits show up. More strength in short and intense sets, better recovery between sets, and over time, greater muscle mass gain. Many people give up before even completing 2 weeks, stopping literally right at the doorstep of results. The tip is to treat the first 21 days as an investment phase. Comparing creatine to caffeine is like comparing planting a tree to lighting a campfire. One delivers instant but fleeting results. The other takes time, but the return is lasting. Effect number 9. Hydration starts to matter more. This effect connects practically all the others on this list. Creatine pulls water into muscle cells, and the body's demand for water increases. If before you needed 2 liters per day, now you may need 2.5 to 3 liters, or more depending on your body weight and physical activity. When hydration does not keep up, the symptoms appear: headaches, cramps, fatigue, dry mouth, dark urine. and the natural reaction is to blame creatine. But the supplement is not causing these problems. It is amplifying a hydration level that was already insufficient. Creatine is like plugging in another appliance to the house's electrical system. If the wiring was already at its limit, the power will go out. But the problem is not the appliance, it is the wiring. Monitor the color of your urine. Clear means well hydrated, dark means you need to drink more. Distribute your intake throughout the day, the body absorbs smaller and more frequent amounts better. For those who train in hot environments, electrolyte replacement is also essential. Now that you have seen the effects of creatine that can frighten you and are already equipped to deal with each one of them, let us look at the effects that truly make this supplement worth it and earn it so much popularity. Effect number 1. Improvement in mental health and cognitive function. When people think of creatine, the first image that comes to mind is muscles and the gym. But the brain is one of the organs that consumes the most energy in the body, and creatine plays a direct role in that supply. The brain uses adenosine triphosphate intensively to sustain all its functions, from short-term memory to processing complex decisions. Supplementation increases phosphocreatine reserves in brain tissue, acting as a backup battery for neurons. Studies published in journals such as Psychopharmacology have shown that creatine can improve performance on cognitive tasks requiring quick thinking, especially in situations of sleep deprivation or mental stress. For those studying for exams, working under pressure, or wanting to keep the mind sharp, this benefit goes far beyond aesthetics. Recent research also investigates its role as a complement in the treatment of mild depression, since brain energy production is linked to mood regulation. Creatine does not replace professional treatment, but it can be a complementary ally. If you are taking creatine only for the muscles, know that your brain is also grateful. Effect number 2. Improvement in cardiovascular health. The heart is a muscle that works 24 hours a day without rest, and like any other muscle, it depends on adenosine triphosphate to contract efficiently. Creatine contributes to the energy reserves of the myocardium, helping to maintain more stable cardiac function. Research suggests that supplementation may help reduce homocysteine levels, an amino acid that in elevated concentrations is associated with increased cardiovascular risk. In addition, creatine appears to have a positive effect on the lipid profile in some individuals, contributing to healthier cholesterol levels. For those who train regularly, the benefit is double. Exercise strengthens the heart, and creatine enhances the energy capacity of that organ. It is like performing preventive maintenance on an engine you already use well. Combined with a balanced diet and regular exercise, creatine adds one more layer of protection to the cardiovascular system. People with pre-existing heart conditions should consult a cardiologist before starting any supplementation. But for the generally healthy population, this is one more reason why creatine deserves its place in the daily routine. Effect number 3. Increase in bone density. This is a benefit that rarely appears on labels, but can be extremely valuable for people over 40. Bone density naturally begins to decline starting in the 3rd decade of life, accelerating especially in women after menopause. And do you know why that happens? Because the body starts prioritizing other processes, and bone mineral deposition takes a back seat. Creatine can act as a supporting factor in preserving bone mineral density. Stronger muscles exert more traction on bones during exercise, and that traction signals to the body the need to strengthen bone tissue, increasing the deposition of calcium and phosphorus. Studies with postmenopausal women showed that the combination of resistance training with creatine produced significant improvements in bone density of the femur and lumbar spine compared to training alone. The recommendation is to combine creatine with load-bearing exercises such as squats, deadlifts, and bench press, which generate greater osteogenic stimulus. Having denser bones is not just about avoiding fractures, it is about maintaining independence and quality of life for decades. Effect number 4. Improvement in strength and muscle recovery. This is the flagship benefit, the reason why most people buy creatine for the first time. Creatine increases phosphocreatine reserves in the muscles, allowing adenosine triphosphate to be regenerated more quickly during high-intensity, short-duration exercises, such as heavy sets of squats, bench press, or deadlifts. In practice, you can maintain muscle power for longer within each set and recover more quickly between sets. Regular practitioners who supplement typically report gains of 5 to 10% in maximum strength and 15 to 20% in total training volume, which over months translates into significantly greater hypertrophy. Recovery between training sessions also improves. Creatine helps reduce markers of muscle damage and post-workout inflammation, which means delayed onset muscle soreness tends to be less intense and shorter in duration. This allows you to train with greater weekly frequency without accumulating excessive fatigue. And since dividing volume into more weekly sessions generally brings better results, creatine gives you a double benefit: more strength to train heavy and more recovery to train more often. Take 3 to 5 grams daily, including on rest days, and prioritize progressive overload in your training. Effect number 5: prevents muscle aging and sarcopenia. This is perhaps the most underestimated benefit on the entire list. Sarcopenia is the progressive loss of muscle mass and strength with aging, and it begins earlier than most people imagine. Starting at 30 years of age, we can lose 3 to 5% of muscle mass per decade if we do nothing. After 60, that loss accelerates and becomes one of the main causes of falls, fractures, loss of mobility, and hospitalizations in elderly people. Creatine enters as a powerful prevention tool. By keeping phosphocreatine reserves elevated, it helps preserve the muscle's ability to generate force even at advanced ages. Combined with resistance training, it amplifies gains in strength and muscle mass in older adults in ways proven by dozens of scientific studies. A meta-analysis published in the Journal of the International Society of Sports Nutrition demonstrated that older adults who combined creatine with strength training had significantly greater gains in lean mass and functional strength. For those who are young, the message is clear. Starting to take creatine and training consistently from now on is a direct investment in future quality of life. Strong muscles are not just aesthetics. They are the structure that sustains your autonomy, your balance, your ability to climb stairs and live independently into advanced age. For those already past 50, it is never too late. Creatine is safe, accessible, and may be the missing complement to slow down muscle loss and recover part of what time has taken away. If you enjoyed this and also want to discover the 10 mistakes most people make when taking creatine that can, unfortunately, beyond ruining the positive effects, cause real harm to health, we have left a video appearing right now on the screen showing each one of them in detail. Make sure to check it out. Thank you for watching until the end, and God bless you, my friend.